Good morning, Monica with King's Titan Homestead here. And this morning I'm in the kitchen trying to get caught up on some produce that I accumulated this week. And I'm going to show you all the different things that I'm going to be doing in order to try to save it because we're not going to get to eat it before it goes bad. So my plans were to be self-sustainable and to just eat out of the garden and because I needed to lose some weight. So I was like, okay, so instead of going on any type of diet that has a special name to it, basically I was just gonna eat what we grew, hunted, harvested, foraged, that kind of thing, just eating off the desert and off the farm. And that really didn't work because I got so busy, and it takes a lot to raise your own foods. And I just lost track of everything. Some things even started to fail because I didn't get to water things in time. Like my beautiful watermelon radishes. They popped up, cute little buddies. It's just so adorable. And then, yeah, you have to have time and stay on top of it. And so I'm the one that does the gardening. Dan's not a gardener. So pretty much lost that. I'm hoping things start to slow down a little bit and that I can put in a nice fall and winter garden, which is actually some of my favorite foods anyway. I love greens. I love the radishes. I'm going to put in some broccolis, cauliflowers, Brussels sprouts, that kind of thing throughout winter. I do need to get my greenhouse going though, because I've got pineapple and banana plants and everything that really need to get under cover. But speaking of pineapple, I did buy a pineapple at the grocery store, and she is beautifully ripe. And so what I'm going to do is just cut her off. I'm going to save the top, and I'm going to allow that to dry out. I'm just going to sit it on my counter until the top is completely dry. And when that's dry, then I'll go plant it. I'm hoping that the pineapple itself is still good because it is really ripe. And so I'm gonna slice it open and we're gonna just consume that. But the outside, a friend of mine, Cheryl, sent me a recipe for making tapache. And it is wonderful. She made it out of one of the pineapples that kind of went a little bit too far bad. That was on my counter, and it's a wonderful drink if you've never had tapache. So that's something that I'm going to be doing out of this pineapple. And then I was over at a sorry about that, a new hobbyist. She took one of my bee classes, and she wanted to know, like what area she should put her bees and all this other stuff. So I kind of stopped by. I was in town anyway, and I stopped by and checked her orchard and her property to see what would be safe to put bees, because she's got some young children around. And I saw these. Aren't those stunning? Persimmons. One's a fuyu, which you can eat at any stage. They're not astringent, and they're absolutely fabulous. Dan wants me to put these in. I lost my first couple trees that I tried here, but a friend of mine, John, he's really great at growing trees, and he's like, basically these really need a lot of babying for their first 2 years, and once they get established, then they're nice and hardy. So I've got a lot of work to do. I need to put in my fuyu persimmon trees, but they also had another variety of persimmon that actually is very astringent until it turns ripe. This one is very nice and ripe. And so I'm not sure if I'm gonna just eat it like this or if I'm gonna make some persimmon bread. And then Adita and Milosh came over and were helping me with bees, and they brought me some gorgeous limes. These are limes that are yellow. There's all kinds of different varieties of limes, and oh, they smell wonderful. Beautiful limes. So I'm probably gonna juice these and put them in the freezer, keeping a few out to use for myself. So then I went to, I had to do some bee work on a very early Saturday morning. So there's some things that happen in Tucson and Phoenix. It's called Market on the Move. And basically what they do is, this is a nonprofit organization that tries to save produce from the landfills. And I think it's an exceptional program. What you do is you donate $10 and you receive up to 70 pounds of food for the $10. And you don't get a choice. You don't get to go shopping through it and just say, oh, all I want is all tomatoes, or all I want. They basically, you drive up and they give you, they pile in your truck things. This week I got coffee, and I got Cheez-Its and a bunch of other weird things. Things I would never have bought myself. These little microwave cups of cauliflower rice, Santa Fe style or something like that, beans. And so anyway, I got all that stuff. You know, it's not, the cauliflower rice was gonna expire fairly soon. So basically what I did is got that in the freezer. I put it in individual bags so that I can take it out quickly and use it. So I do have that stuff saved. Everything else is perfect, except for the produce. And the produce this week was turnip greens. So my turnip greens are starting to wilt. And so I got them cleaned up, got the yellow ones and the stalks separated for, this is for the chickens, which they're gonna be thrilled. They absolutely love fresh greens. Something that I always do, like here's the tag that the turnip greens were wrapped in. And basically, this isn't gonna come off very easy. Whoop, it does come off easy. Never mind. So I'm just gonna take these, all of these here, pull these off, and I just save these. I put these in the warehouse and in a drawer that's marked, so that I know where they are and that I could go to them anytime I might need them. And I mean, they take the place of zip ties a lot and stuff. Well, I mean, like, why buy when you can just reuse, right? So all of these nice, and these are long ones. These are a lot longer than what comes in like some of your baggy boxes and stuff like that you buy. So these are nice and long and perfect for a lot of projects. Those are gonna go in the drawer in the warehouse. Okay, so with that said, what else did I get? Oh, gorgeous cherry tomatoes. Some of them were starting to go, but what I did was I basically stewed them. So check it out. Absolutely beautiful. I stewed these cherry tomatoes. When this cools down, I'm gonna put it in small bags, freezer bags, and just throw these in the freezer and then use them for recipes when I need them. I did add a little bit of freeze-dried garlic to this, which makes those tomatoes smell fabulous. I was gonna put some Italian seasoning in there, but my Italian seasoning jar, I must have put that somewhere. I don't know where the Italian seasoning jar is. I need to make some more Italian seasoning up. And I also realized I have no parsley on my shelf. It's totally empty jar and I didn't even realize that. So I have more parsley. I just need to bring it out of storage and put that in my jar. But yeah, that was kind of like, where's my parsley? When I need it, it's not there. So one other thing that they had in the produce section there of the Market on the Move was organic bananas, but they're brown. Pretty dang brown. So what I'm going to do with these, oops, there's another tag, is I'm just gonna freeze them whole. I'll use them for banana bread and for some other projects. So you can use them for smoothie, all kinds of different things. But I'm just gonna throw them in the freezer and just use them like that. So that's basically some of the produce things that I have from today that I've got to get put up. And the turnip greens, I'm gonna dice up some bacon and I'm going to fry that up. And then I'm going to slice these and get them like parboiled type thing. And I'm going to also bag these up and put them in the freezer so that we can just take them out with some like fried chicken or pork chops or anything like that. And with the stewed tomatoes, all I'll have to do is like cook up the main meat dish and maybe some cornbread for Dan. So yeah, that's my morning. I'm on a roll. I forgot, also added to my turnip greens, like I said, I'm doing up some bacon, but I ran out to the garden and got some of the onions, and I also have some leftover chopped onion in the refrigerator. I'm just gonna throw all this in there too. I mean, oh, the smell of onions and bacon cooking, please. I might have to eat a bowl of the turnip greens for breakfast. Okay, so the turnip greens are boiling down, and now I'm gonna look at these persimmons. These are not the fuyu, and I do not know what variety of persimmons this is, although I do know that if you eat it while it's not quite ripe, it is quite astringent, and it's something that if you do, and this is your first time eating a persimmon, you might go, okay, I don't like them. But don't make up your mind by eating a green one that is not ready of this variety. The fuyu you can eat at any time as they're turning yellowish orange, and but this one here is nice and it's getting soft. This one here is still hard to the touch. So I am going to wait on this one, and I'm going to open this one right now. Okay, so basically with the persimmon, the really ripe one, all I did was peel it like you would like a stewed tomato. The peel just kind of comes off very easily. And then you're left with this beautifully gelatin soft persimmon, which I'm gonna taste. Guess what? This one is not going in the freezer. So what I was gonna do was I was just gonna put this in a freezer bag until like more of the persimmons were ripe, because they do ripen out on the counter. But this is delicious, and I think I'm just gonna eat it for breakfast. Okay, next on the list to save before it goes bad is that pineapple. So literally I just chopped the pineapple top off, and like I said, I'm just gonna leave this sit on my counter till this completely dries out. I have a spot for them. I put them in the corner. Okay, so my pineapple, I've been slicing it up just so that I can put it in the refrigerator for use later. And Dan had watched something by a doctor that talked about how pineapple is good for eye vision, basically when you get those floaters in your eyes. And he's got those, and so he was he's like, oh, I want to try this. But my dad, he uses the pineapple for carpal tunnel, because being a beekeeper, it's constant use of your wrist, and that's painful. I'm like, I need to eat more pineapple. But anyway, so it's the bromelain, I believe it is, what's in the pineapple. The active ingredient that is got the beneficial for the eyes and the carpal tunnel area. And so basically, you want to try to eat fresh pineapple almost on a daily basis, pretty much on a daily basis. Keep the bromelain in your system. They do sell bromelain tablets, and you can look more into that. I'm not here to give any type of that kind of health advice. I'm just going to mention it in case you didn't know about it, and you can do some research. So yeah, pineapple, bromelain. So now I'm left over with these beautiful skin. What are we gonna do with this? I gotta go locate Cheryl's text on how to make tapache. So the tapache recipe called for 1 whole ripe pineapple. And I'm only gonna be using the rinds, so I'm gonna kind of guess and cut the recipe in half. Still might be a little too much, but I'm just gonna do it and see how it turns out. So 1 whole pineapple, 1 cup of light brown sugar, and 8 cups of water, and then you ferment it. So I'm going to go with a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 4 cups of water. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a big wide mouth. All my jars are being used for other projects. So I'm going to just use this pitcher, and then I'm going to put a weight down on it, and then put a light towel over top of it while it ferments. Okay, so my brown sugar gets hard as a rock, and so I basically busted it out of the jar, measured out about a 1/2 cup of it, and then I put it in the microwave with a little bit of water just to moisten it. And then now what I've done is added 2 cups of the water that the recipe calls for, and then I stirred it up, and I've got my brown sugar completely dissolved now. Basically, now I'm just going to weigh it down. I kind of feel like it's too much water, but this is an experiment. Okay, so I dropped a glass jar down on top of the pineapple peels, and I'm just going to go set this in a cool, dark place. In a minute. Basically, this is something fun that I picked up at a yard sale the other day. I collect all kinds of different cookbooks, gardening books, books on minerals, Native American, all kinds of books. I love books. And it has to be something tangible, something that I can hold. I don't really like the internet that much for keeping all kinds of my information. So luckily I have room so that I can keep these kind of things. But what's really fun in here is it has a whole thing about pineapple plants. And this is foliage plants for modern living, which is really cute. Remember how I told you how I'm going to be growing a pineapple off the top that I cut off? Excuse me. And I'll take you out in the garden to show you the other ones that I've done through the year. But something we need to note, though, excuse me, is the average to warm temperature minimum at night needs to be 62 to 65. I'm getting down to 57, 48. It is time to get the greenhouse going before I lose some of my more tropical plants. So it says it will tolerate temperatures of 50 degrees for short periods. So this is old. I can't find a copyright on this, but I'm sure it's probably from the 70s or so, kind of just what decor looks like. And basically it says full sun or bright indirect light, prefers humid air, of course it's tropical, and keep soil uniformly moist but not wet, and fertilize every 2 months. They recommend it as a specimen plant for low table or floor, saying that it grows to about 15 inches. I mean, it's going to produce more pineapple. They also spread. So basically you want to get them into an area where you can keep that temperature. You need to create this temperature that is recommended, the humidity level, the low temperature lows, everything, and then you can actually grow something that is not native to your area. Just being careful of the water use. If you don't have a large supply of water, or you're not water harvesting, or you've got issues with water, pineapples are not for you. Just sadly, I just can't throw anything away. So I'm saving the tops. I might find them homes, but I'm just not throwing them away. Oop, got a spider web. This is one of my pineapples. Isn't she gorgeous? And then these 3 here, that one didn't make it. So I do need to transplant these now that I know that they've took. That one's struggling a little bit, and what it might be is that this is on a slightly downhill slope and more water kind of accumulates on that end. So as you can tell, this one is happier. than those down there. And so they might be getting their little roots drowned. So basically, here's just 4 of the pineapple plants going. And as I said, I got to get these under some protection before winter hits. So I'm about to enjoy a large bowl of turnip greens for breakfast. When Dan's here, it's got to be traditional breakfast. Bacon or sausage, your eggs, blah, blah, blah. But when Dan's gone, I enjoy whatever I want. And so I'm going to have my turnip greens and some of my hot pepper vinegar. All I've been doing is, my chiltepines didn't do too well this year. But so what I've been doing is basically, I've got white vinegar in here, and I've just been throwing chiltepines in as I pick them, because I have enough in storage that are dried. So now I'm starting to make myself some of the hot pepper vinegar. Okay, the limes are pretty self-explanatory. I'm just gonna slice these open, juice them, and put the juice in ice cube trays. And then when they're frozen solid, I'll transfer them to another freezer bag and then just be able to take out little pieces of lime juice as I need them. So that's self-explanatory. All I'm doing now is waiting to make sure that, or waiting for the turnip greens and the stewed tomatoes to cool down, and then I'm going to put them in my freezer bags. And that's pretty much it. I saved everything that was about to go bad. Other than that, it's time to go feed the chickens all the rest of the scraps. No waste. So that's pretty much it for this morning. I'm gonna go work in the garden for a little while. I've got a bunch more of the octopus agave to pull off and the stem and put in pots. And what else? Oh, I gotta go work bees, of course. And so the tepache, if I'm not mistaken, it said like 1 to 3 days for fermentation, and that when it starts bubbling, you can taste it and see if it's to your liking yet. So stay tuned. I will definitely, I promise, when the tepache is ready, I will show you that. And what else will we have coming up? I can't remember. Something to follow up on about today. Oh well, make sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay tuned for some more of me. Have a great day.